Loki Wednesday has come and gone, and with it a new episode of Loki on Disney+. Stick with us for some cool details and interesting plot theories as we count down the top 10 Easter eggs in episode 3 of Loki. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications, then share our video across the multiverse. Let's get right to it. The episode begins without a cold open and a new theme song of sorts called Demons by Haley Kiyoko. As we watch Sylvie mess with the mind and memories of Minuteman C-20, we hear the song repeat, "Please forgive me, I've got demons in my head." The teases from the French chapel in episode 1 combined with the signature Loki horns make sure a pretty easy connection to our main variants exists here. At the end of the episode, we get another musical cue in the form of Bonnie Guitar's song, Dark Moon, with lyrics such as "Dark Moon, way up in the sky." The song is about questioning a lost love and how the desire for love can bring about heartache, asking where the light of that love has gone, not realizing that the moon is simply a reflection of something else, which casts that light. It's an interesting choice and plays well into the story of Loki, which questions whether we have free will amidst characters seeking to live lives based on order or chaos. But, much like our Dark Moon, we're looking in the wrong place, asking the wrong questions, and we're not likely to get the answers until we do so. Speaking of which, that's no moon, it's a plot device. The song at the end pairs well with the setting of Lamentis 1, which is in the middle of an apocalyptic event where the moon is presently crashing into the planet as people attempt to evacuate. The impending doom of two objects which should be in a stable orbit coming closer and closer together in an ever-growing moment of destruction is precisely what has been brewing in our current story and the lives of Loki and Sylvie for some time. It is not a coincidence that Loki and Sylvie get their crashing into each other moment here on Lamentis 1 and in this episode. I suspect we'll see some backstory about how and why Sylvie is doing what she's doing, and then begin to ask the right questions about what exactly is going on in the TVA. It's this precise twist that leads us to the major dialogue moment of the episode. In explaining her powers, Sylvie lets Loki in on the revelation that the TVA employees are merely variants plucked from the timeline and their memories wiped so they can serve the TVA. The reasons and motives behind that discovery remain to be seen, but it does mean that the characters like C-20 and even Mobius have a considerable backstory. This would explain Mobius' infatuation with the 90s, from his Jostacola to his love of Wave Runners. Here's hoping Mobius gets his moment in the sun. Literally. Earlier, when Loki and Sylvie attempt to board the train to the Ark, they're met by two guards who are credited in the end credits as Private Hudson and Corporal Hicks. These just happen to be the names of two characters from the James Cameron film Aliens, played by Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
On board the train, as Sylvie wakes up, she catches a drunk Loki mid-song. The song, intended to be Asgardian in nature, is actually a Norwegian song called Jeg Sailor Min Ganger. The middle portion of this song is translated, "In storm-blackened mountains I wander alone. Across glaciers I travel forth. In the apple orchard the fair maiden stands and sings, 'When will you come home?' And when she sings, come home." The song was written specifically for the show and paints a pretty bleak picture of the life Loki currently finds himself in. Not to mention, Jeg Sailor Min Ganger roughly translates to, "I saddle my times," perhaps a metaphor for being bound to the will or the fate Loki has now to endure as a variant. Or maybe it's just an ominous, mysterious title with no point. What do you guys think? Then, as a fight breaks out, we get two interesting eggs. The first is Sylvie's sword, which has Asgardian glyphs written on it. Now, I'm sure someone has the nerd chops to translate this, and if that's you, consider yourself a new employee of the after credits scene. You'll get paid the same amount of money as me. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. Moving on. Also, during the fight, we see Sylvie get a little violent with her headdress as she takes it off and uses it to stab one of the guards. You might remember in Ragnarok, Loki does the same thing with his own headpiece. However, Sylvie's has been damaged in battle previously, and it points to a bigger reveal. The character of Lady Loki, or Sylvie Laufey's daughter, probably a combination of Lady Loki and Enchantress from the comics, sports a broken headpiece in that comic, in a certain comic run. Loki, agent of Asgard. There's a lot of story to mine from here, but a quick explanation is that Loki runs into different versions of himself, one of which is a King Loki, who is not a good guy at all. The other Loki decides to sport a crown with a broken horn, and it symbolizes the diverging paths between who he could potentially become in the future and who he chooses to become now. Again, the order, chaos, and free will plot points we've been hit with so far in the series. Anyone care to dive deeper into those stories and let us know? We'll include them and you in a future video. Finally, as the episode comes to a close, you'll notice that over the past 3 episodes, the photos on the desk have been changing, showing scenes from the episode that you've just seen, as if a nod to the detective work of the TVA that they're keeping an eye on Loki from afar. Or, the more sinister thought here is that these pictures are part of archived files, and we're seeing what was always meant to happen, which could mean a whole host of nasty things in the future. Tell us what you found, along with what you loved or hated about this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and share, and check out some of our other reviews, predictions, and egg videos while you wait for the next episode to drop. Until then, we'll see you next time.